Hi, I'm Ken Rosenthal, Park Naturalist at Gulf Branch Nature Center, and this is another 5-minute find. Today we're going to talk about the leaves, or specifically the lack of leaves. As you can see, our tree canopy is starting to thin out, and it's autumn, and that's par for the course. We're going to talk about why some of the trees lose their leaves, and why some of the trees hang on to them, what the advantages are to holding on to some of them stubborn leaves until the spring. We are well into autumn now, and many of the trees have already lost the majority of their leaves. But you'll notice that some are still holding on to their leaves, and they may release later, or they may not release until the spring. There are different theories as to why this may be the case. What exactly are the advantages of holding on to your leaves? This American beech is going through the process of abscission right before our eyes. Abscission is when a plant sheds an organ, either through disuse or injury. In this case, most deciduous plants shed their leaves for the coming winter season after they receive cues from the decreasing photoperiod. The photoperiod is the time between sunrise and sunset, and it decreases from a maximum of 15 hours in June to 9.5 hours in December. For plants, the biggest problem in the winter is drier conditions and less sunlight. You have a shorter day, you have a lot more cloudy weather, and then you also have these dry conditions. So these broad leaves will lose moisture more rapidly, and then it takes a lot of energy to maintain these leaves at the same time that they're not producing nearly as much food for the plant through photosynthesis. So that is why they're going through abscission right now. And as you can see in these plants, one of the first step in abscission is to resorb some of the chlorophyll and get the nitrogen out of that and share that with the rest of the plant, so that what's left behind is the yellow and orange carotenoids, which are also going to be resorbed, but resorb more slowly than the chlorophyll. And that's why the green recedes first and you see the yellow and the oranges. The next step is to develop a protective layer at the base of the stem of the leaf, where it connects to the branch. There will be a abscission layer, and at the base of the abscission layer next to the branch, corky cells will appear in order to protect the plant from the dry conditions. These two trees right here are white oak trees, and these white oak trees, if you go all the way up to top, are still holding on to their leaves, and they may hold on to their leaves all the way through the winter. This is called marcescens, where the trees have started the process of abscission. The leaves are essentially dead and no longer functioning, but they haven't detached or released them yet. So why keep your leaves on? Well, it can be a deterrence to herbivory, to browsing mammals like deer or moose. We don't have moose, and certainly these are too tall of a tree for those kinds of animals to reach. But a shorter tree like this beech or a shorter oak could definitely benefit from having its leaves on throughout the winter season, when animals like deer or moose will browse on the ends of twigs and buds, and that will protect the buds for next year's growth. So that is one theory as to why marcescens is really important. Another theory is the tree holds onto these leaves until the spring, and then the leaves fall into the ground, thus adding nutrients to the ground in early spring when the tree can readily and immediately take advantage of them. And so by holding onto those leaves through the winter season when they're dormant, the trees can reuse the nutrients from those leaves when they get into the soil in the spring. And that would be an advantage in drier, infertile sites that are not very conducive to growth for the trees. American holly stays green throughout the year with the benefit of a waxy cuticle on the leaves. That waxy cuticle prevents moisture loss during the dry winter months. It also makes the leaves distasteful to herbivores like deer who might browse for the leaves. The other thing that probably helps them is those wicked points on the ends of these leaves. That's certainly going to hurt if one of those sinks into the roof of your mouth or into your tongue. I've always had a lot of questions about why some trees retain their leaves and others don't, and so I've really enjoyed researching this. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I think one of my favorite things about oak leaves and beech leaves when they're still on the trees in the winter is when the wind comes through and rustles them, and it produces a really, to me, a very winter-specific sound, a calming sound, a sound I really enjoy while I'm out in the woods. So I hope you enjoyed today's 5-minute find. Again, my name is Ken Rosenthal. I'm a park naturalist at Gulf Branch Nature Center. I hope you stop by and say hi, and I hope you'll join us for many more 5-minute finds in the future. Thanks, and have a great day.